Vice President Constantino Chiwenga has taken over the oversight role on the negotiations between government and striking doctors, reported below at 24. Most people would remember the bully boy tactics Chiwenga used earlier this year to end the nurses' strike. He fired a lot. He accused the opposition of being behind the strike, and as we all know, once ZANU-PF has given you the opposition supporter tag, you are meat for vultures. Nyama as one would say in Shona. The junior doctors will probably be spared the MDC tag for now, but will go away with little else. They will never ever be paid a living wage by this ZANU-PF government, not as long as the economic meltdown continues to get worse, which it is. There is no hope of any meaningful economic recovery whilst the country remains a pariah state, ruled by corrupt and vote-rigging thugs. None. It is not so much that government is broke, but that it is broke because of corruption is rampant, among other reasons. A year ago, Mnangagwa promised to end corruption. There will be zero tolerance on corruption, he said. Zimbabwe was swindled $15 billion in diamond revenue, Mugabe admitted in 2016, confirming that corruption is indeed Zimbabwe's greatest challenge. And yet, surprising, after a whole year in power, Mnangagwa has failed to arrest even one of these diamond swindlers. We know the mining of diamonds has continued, and so has the looting. It is not that the nation does not know who those behind the looting are. Everybody knows them from their amassed wealth. Vice President Chiwenga has his C&M mansion, 45 gold watches, a fleet of posh cars, farms, houses, business interests, etc. It was not all paid for from his Zimbabwe Defense Forces commander's salary. That is obvious. President Mnangagwa is himself believed to be one of the richest individuals in Zimbabwe. He was one of the senior Zimbabwe leaders accused by the UN of looting DRC diamonds and gold. He has maintained a stone-faced silence over the matter, the same stone-faced silence that he has kept when confronted with the evidence of his Bukrawundi murders. But most Zimbabweans, those striking junior doctors, nurses, and teachers among them, have failed to appreciate is that Zimbabwe's economic recovery will never ever happen as long as the country remains a pariah state, ruled by corrupt and vote-rigging thugs. In other words, these junior doctors should have been out demanding the implementation of the democratic reforms to ensure that the recent elections were free, fair, and credible. Now that we know ZANU-PF blatantly rigged the 30th July 2018 elections, the junior doctors should not be demanding a living wage and better conditions of service. What is the point of asking for something that will never come? We've already forfeited all hope of meaningful economic recovery. They should be demanding that ZANU-PF step down instead. For the last 38 years, the majority of Zimbabweans have failed to see this political and economic linkage. The few who have done have ignored it. And the nation has paid dearly for it. The country is in this mess of economic meltdown, a dysfunctional political system, because for 38 years, the nation has been stuck with a corrupt and tyrannical regime that rigged the elections to stay in power. Indeed, the economic meltdown is now so bad, it has pushed unemployment to the nauseating heights of 90%. Most basic services such as healthcare and supply of clean running water have all but collapsed, etc. 75% of the country's population now live on US $1 or less a day. There is a limit to how much more of these economic hardships the people of Zimbabwe can take. We should be taking steps right now to stop Zimbabwe's worsening economic meltdown and not test providence by pushing the people's economic hardship endurance to its limit. If we wait for the people's bottled anger to finally burst, it will unleash a tsunami that will sweep away the ZANU-PF dictatorship, but a lot more beside. Zimbabwe is now standing right up on the very edge of the precipitous abyss. It is important that the nation stop dead and slowly move back. Vice President Chiwenga and his fellow ZANU-PF thugs are the root cause of the nation's economic and political mess. Whether they care to admit it or not, that is academic. What is of immediate concern right now is that they step down. They rigged the elections, the recent elections, and so they have no mandate to govern. Their continued stay in power will only mean the economic meltdown will get worse and thus push the nation over the edge into the abyss. Besides, even if people were to bite their lower lip and endure the worsening economic meltdown as stoically as they can for the next 5 years, there is no reason to believe their suffering will end then. If ZANU-PF is in power in 2023, we can be 100% certain the regime will rig those elections just as readily as it rigged this year's elections. Zimbabweans have allowed ZANU-PF to rig elections and to stay in power in the hope that next time the regime will, out of some Damascus transformative experience, keep its promise to hold free, fair, and credible elections. This has gone on for the last 38 years, and ZANU-PF has blatantly rigged the elections time and time again. After all these years of being disappointed, it is insane to try this futile course one more day, especially with the nation's very survival now at stake. So if the junior doctors had their thinking caps on, the only demand they would be asking of Vice President Chiwenga is for him and his fellow ZANU-PF junta to step down. There is as much hope of junior doctors getting ZANU-PF to step down as techies getting a Christmas break. The junior doctors will probably be offered a 20% pay rise to match that the army got a few months ago. On their current pay of $384 a month, paid in bond notes and not US dollars, as the doctors have been demanding. Government will pretend the bond notes have held their value against the US dollar at the official exchange rate of 1:1. We all know in the real world the exchange rate has swung from 3:1 to as high as 10:1 to the US dollar. In other words, the junior doctors' wages have dropped from $384 to US $128 and then to $38.40 a month. The 20% increase will take their wages from $128 to $153.60 and the $38.40 to $46.08. At the height of the 2008 hyperinflation, junior doctors' wages shrunk way below US $1 a month. Everyone knows those 500 billion % inflation rates and empty shop shelves days are here already. We've not yet hit the high notes, but we'll do so soon enough. No wonder the regime wants a ruthless enforcer like Vice President Chiwenga oversees the salary negotiations. The junior doctors will remember what happened to the striking nurses, and they will take their huge and bitter wage cut bill without further ado, orally or otherwise. Merry Christmas, Vice President Chiwenga. You filthy animal. You will not hear the latter. Only flies with their ears to the ground will hear it.